I love the days in this Bible reading plan when we read the Psalms, because you don't just read one psalm, we always read 3 psalms. And when we look at a group of psalms, we get a really good picture quite often of the ups and downs of our hearts, of our feelings, of our thoughts, even of our faith as we walk with God in the midst of the realities of life in this world. And that's okay. But unfortunately, one of the things I've heard so often from young people in ministries I've been a part of in Uganda is this: Pastor, I can't share my heart with anyone because it leads to gossip, or they condemn me rather than helping me. So it's safer to just keep it inside and pretend that everything's okay. And so we have church services that are just filled with pretending and people smiling smiles that aren't in their hearts. I often see people up front leading the worship team or testifying, speaking as if their faith is rock solid and that they never struggle, they never doubt, that they're always strong, that they're always conquering with God on the mountaintop somewhere. But many times, I was in the counseling room with those same people just a few days before, and I know that their hearts are fragile and that their faith is just barely hanging on. If we could just learn to be like the psalmists, honest with one another, then we could seek God together. Then we could actually encourage and strengthen and help one another. And the Psalms are often so helpful like that. David is up, then he's down, then he's up again. And when I read his thoughts, I think, I understand a guy like that, because that's how I am. But God still calls him a man after his own heart, and so that encourages me. Psalm 9, David's full of confidence in the Lord. He says, I will give thanks to the Lord with all my heart. I will tell of all your wonders. I will be glad and rejoice in you. I will sing praises to your name. He says, my enemies might come against me, but they're temporary. But the Lord abides forever. He won't forsake his people. And it might take time, but I know without a doubt, he hasn't forgotten us. That's how David felt in Psalm 9. But he was a human being like us, and in Psalm 10, that confidence had dropped in a big way. Now he's saying, hey, if you're the God of Psalm 9, then why aren't you acting like the God of Psalm 9? Why do you allow the wicked to do whatever they want? They're so arrogant. They say you don't exist. They say that they can just do anything and you'll never punish them, as if you don't even see them. They think they can just live in this world for themselves and you'll never hold them accountable. It just seems like they always win. God, why? I don't understand. But the Lord's so patient with David and with us. He allows us to struggle. He allows us to doubt. And he walks with us step by step and patiently and graciously leads us back into his truth until we can see it clearly again. And in Psalm 11, David's eyes are opened again. His heart and his faith are back where they belong. And he says, hey, Lord, regardless of what the enemy does, I will take refuge in you. I will trust in you, even though the enemy wants to destroy me. Because the Lord is God. He rules over everything, including my enemies. He sees everything. He knows the hearts of all people. He will one day judge the wicked, and the righteous will one day see his face. Life's hard. That's how it is in this world. And sometimes it feels hopeless. Sometimes we struggle. Sometimes we fail to trust him. Sometimes we complain to him and even accuse him of being asleep or being too slow or not caring about us at all. But when we can remember his faithfulness in the past, when we can meditate on the truth of his word in the present, when we can really allow ourselves to see his heart and get a glimpse of God for who he is, when we can trust him to just be God, our hearts find peace. And then he renews our hope. Not that everything's going to work out the way we'd like it to, but that he's good and that he always does what's right and that he will take everything, even the worst and the most painful things that happen in this life, and ultimately, he'll use it for our good and for his glory.